Hey guys, tired of feeling stuck in your dating life and striking out in the dating game? You're not alone. Maybe you just need some good coaching. Welcome to Just Ask Her, the no BS podcast for real dating advice straight from a woman's point of view. Dating expert Gracie Pleshcourt and her co-host, certified life coach Tracy Pleshcourt, are here to give you the play-by-play on how to attract more women you're interested in. So, let's take back control of your dating life. This is Just Ask Her.
Welcome back to Just Ask Her, the podcast that helps you date with confidence, connect with real women, and finally feel in control of your dating life. I'm your host, Gracie, here with my mom, co-host, and certified life coach, Tracy, who just gave you a wave for anybody that's not watching. And we're excited to be back for another episode.
This is the Thanksgiving episode. It's also the post-birthday episode. So you're officially 25.
Yes.
How exciting.
Actually is. What's even funnier is how many of my clients or people that listen to this show know when my birthday is. I've had multiple clients this week say, "Oh, it's your birthday next week." I haven't even remembered that next week is my birthday, which by the time this airs is already going to be over. And it kind of takes me back with me like, wow, yes, it is. It absolutely is. But it's so sweet that they even know that. It's funny. When I was this time last year, turning 24, I was like, ew, that is such a gross age to turn. Like, there's nothing fun.
I think you even said that on the podcast.
I had that feeling like there's nothing fun about 24. It doesn't sound like an exciting age. I feel like 24 is the first year you're trying to figure out what you're doing with your life. It's kind of the years that you're getting close to graduating college or have just graduated college and you're starting to move into the real world of picking a career and things like that. And so while we had already been dating with Gracie and all the things, it was all very exciting. I don't know why. 24 was just like, I don't like that. And I also feel like when people ask me about high school or college, I'm like, I graduated so long ago. It feels like now. Now I'm going to be 25. But when I was last year, I was like 24. Not a fun age. But for some reason, I feel totally different about 25. 25 feels exciting. 25 feels like a fun number, feels like a fun age. I just have a totally different feeling about it.
It's such a fun age. Young, free, not tied down. I'm trying to think of at 25.
You were married.
I was married. I was 27 when I had Griffin. And then I was 28 when I had you.
Yeah.
Okay. But I was married.
But you were married.
Yeah.
You were married by the time you were 25. I don't know. I just
feel like people are waiting longer to get married, closer to the 30s or beyond 30s.
They say the kids thing is more of that's gotten pushed back big time. I have plenty of friends getting married this year and a lot of people that I know that have already gotten married. I think the marriage thing, people wait, but like the having kids is a lot later now, I feel like.
Yeah. All I got to say is the longer you wait, the older you're going to be trying to keep up with them. And there's definitely something to that. I have friends that waited until their late 40s to have kids. And they're going to be in their late 60s when those kids are just getting into college. To each their own. I don't think there is a right or a wrong way. And it's a total tangent. But I think 25 is such a fun age. It's so exciting. The possibilities are absolutely endless. And getting to watch you do what you do with so much force, it's awesome because I'm like, holy crap, there is no stopping. It's so fun to watch. I love momentum, and you've got a lot of that at such a young age, which then my little peanut brain says, I have so much time to enjoy all of this. Both you and your brother, I am incredibly proud of. You've both done so much with your young lives, and it's just super inspiring. So happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. It's going to be a good year. I have a good feeling about it. I think if it's anything like last year, I am going to be more than happy and excited with the direction we're moving in.
We have a lot to be thankful for.
Personally and professionally, absolutely. We do have a lot to be thankful for. So it's very exciting, and I will be happy to turn 25.
Happy Thanksgiving. We hope that you take a moment and really find the things that you are grateful for. It is such a huge mind shift when you start focusing on what it is that you already have. One of the coolest exercises that one of my coaches had given me was to look at the things that you have that you still want. Instead of dreaming or aspiring for the big house on the lake or the multi-million-dollar company, what are the things that you actually have that you still want? It's such a cool exercise because it does create a lot of gratitude, and it keeps you from focusing on what it is that you don't yet have. A lot of us set goals, and immediately upon setting a goal, you start fixating on the fact that you don't yet have it. And it's like, well, for God's sakes, I just set the goal 10 seconds ago. So of course I don't have it, but that's how the human brain operates. It really laser focuses on the lack of it. So if we're talking about men who want to change their dating life, they've set the goal of finding a girlfriend or getting out on dates. The minute they set that goal, their brain reverts back to the lack of dates or the girlfriend that they don't yet have, and they use it as a way to beat themselves up. Instead, you can actually choose to be grateful and proud of the fact that you've turned on this podcast to learn something, to be inspired by something, to the fact that you even set the goal is a huge step in the right direction. The men that have joined our membership are doing so much to improve upon their chances of changing their dating life. Like those are the things that you should be focusing on and not this outcome that you don't yet have. So I love the exercise of wanting the things that you have already received.
Yeah, that's a good one, especially if you're so caught up in the goal and in the pursuit of the goal. It's really easy to lose sight of what it is that you've already accomplished and the credit that you have kind of skipped over. And
yeah, honestly, I don't even do that exercise as a way of giving myself credit. I think you'll definitely have more clarity or pride around the quote unquote accomplishments, but I don't always focus on the accomplishments. I think about the house that I live in, the health that I have, the bed that I sleep in, the side gig that I have at Lifetime Fitness, managing the pickleball desk, little things like that. Those are wants that I still want. And I don't ever see me not wanting those things. They are things that at one point I would have dreamt of having or aspired to, but they are things in my life that I still want. And that makes me feel really good. On the day before Thanksgiving, the gift that you can give yourself is getting yourself into gratitude. It feels so good, especially for those people who haven't felt it in a long, long time. And I want to just kindly remind you that it is within your control. You do have the choice to feel grateful or to feel defeated. And if you want help with that, please reach out. Nobody should live this life in a spiral of defeat. It's unnecessary suffering that can be helped. Our first submission from Dwayne says, I have a dilemma with letting go of someone who changed me for the better, but also ruined me mentally by cheating on me and constantly lying. I also made mistakes by contacting other women, but nothing came of it. I chose to end things and said hurtful things in the process. I moved to another country for her, but living together has shown me that she is unreliable and not trustworthy. We tried to work things out, but it's like we are starting over and the trust is still not there. She claims she needs to handle things in her own way, but I have been waiting for over a month and nothing has changed. I want to trust her, but I feel like she is manipulating me and keeping her options open. I need her, but I can't trust her. I am at a loss for what to do.
From an outsider's perspective, it's easy to give advice on what you should or shouldn't do here. But being in a situation like this, it's never as easy as it sounds. And obviously, there are things that make it a little bit more complicated in the fact that you moved to another country and are living with this person. So I understand the desire to work on this relationship and try to rebuild this relationship. But I have a very kind of strict policy when it comes to what you should allow and go back to in relationships. So often an ex or somebody that you have recently ended things with, they are still, even after hurting you, even after you understand that they are not a good fit for you right now. It is hard all the way around. Nothing seems like a good option in these cases. Like leaving feels really hard, and that comes with a lot of changes. And then staying also is obviously very hard because you now have this relationship where there's no trust. The foundation of a good relationship is trust. It just is. And if that is missing, you are always going to struggle with this. Both of you are always going to struggle to have a healthy relationship. And so I think when it comes to these situations, it's never an easy decision either way. Most people do know the right decision for them. And it's just a matter of having the courage to make it.
But really get honest with yourself and ask yourself some high quality questions.
Yeah.
Most people avoid even asking themselves those questions.
I think the idea of change and having to put yourself back out there in the dating scene and having to explore relationships with new people and rebuilding a new relationship with somebody completely different, like that is scary and it comes with a lot of uncertainty. Whereas it's kind of like the saying, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Like sometimes it's easy to slip into that mentality when it comes to situations like this. At least you know what you're sitting in.
Right.
At least you know what you're going to get, whether that's good for you or not. Yeah, it absolutely is getting honest with yourself. Like this relationship is going to be very hard to repair if it even has an opportunity to be repaired, which a lot of times, in most cases, if somebody is cheating or being unfaithful, something is missing in the relationship for them. Unless there is a drastic change on both ends, we just end up with the same outcome and even more hurt along the way.
Yeah. Trust is going to be the result of consistent behavior over time. There is research that shows trust is rebuilt through small, consistent actions, not promises, not apologies. And he's already given us the pattern that has happened. 1 month, there's been no observable change, no follow through. And that means that there's no trust being built. And then you just kind of lean into hope. And that is not very sustainable. It's not going to benefit or strengthen this relationship. It's trust that he needs, not the hope. And he's in this conflict, like this tug of war with his nervous system that is screaming, danger, and his values. And so the hope without any sort of evidence literally leads to him not being able to trust himself. It's going to be almost like a betrayal of himself. So he needs to really make a decision about what his boundaries are and commit to that so that he can trust himself.
Yeah.
That's where it all starts and stops. He's not going to be able to change how she behaves. Him hoping that she changes is not going to change anything. The best line of defense is always going to be building the trust in yourself. And the way you can do that is set your boundaries.
Make decisions and have your back.
100%.
And the line that you have in here saying like, I need her, but I can't trust her.
Or the line saying she changed me for the better. That sounds very romantic.
And two things can be true. That can be true for him. It probably is a little bit rose-colored glasses, but at the same time, that can still be true and she can still not be right for you. If that is true for you and you feel like she's changed you for the better, that shouldn't be used as a reason to stay with this person who is causing you a lot of pain and is not right for you. That can be true. And what is also true is that she's not right for you and that she's not loyal and that there is no trust in this relationship. You don't have to use the fact that she was part in helping you change for the better as something against yourself for walking away.
Because the truth of the matter is, she probably activated parts within you that you already had.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be giving her the credit for you being a changed man.
Yeah.
I think this is super interesting. Brain imaging research on post-betrayal growth shows that people who recover after infidelity do so because they claim agency. They take ownership. They take responsibility, not because their partner suddenly became reliable. So the question isn't, can she change? The question is, are you willing to abandon yourself while you wait for her to change? Why would you do that? Claiming agency, claiming the responsibility, taking the responsibility for your results, staying committed to your boundaries is what's going to create the self-trust that you need in order to navigate this. You don't need her. You need you. You need to show up and have your own back. Your word needs to mean something to you. You need your future to be built on integrity, not taking a gamble on somebody that you already know what is likely going to be the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Always be careful with that need narrative. It can feel really true in your head, but you need to question that. You telling yourself that you need this other person, first of all, is never true. There are only a few things on this planet that we as humans actually truly need.
And it's wiener dogs.
Okay. But there really is only a few things like genuinely that we need as humans to survive. It's so interesting how our brain likes to develop these stories around the idea that we need other things. It's just become a common word in our language for mixing up things that we want versus what we need. And so even just shifting the narrative from needing her to wanting her is going to help you open the door to the possibility that you actually can move on.
And letting go is not losing her. It's really choosing you. And when you choose you, the next relationship won't feel like this rescue mission. It's going to feel like a partnership.
It's finally here. The Self-Made Man Dating Journal is officially live and ready for you to grab on Amazon. This was designed specifically for single men who are serious about improving their dating life. It helps you track your dates, reflect on your experiences, and actually learn from them, so you can stop repeating old patterns and start seeing real progress.
What I love most about this journal is how intentional it is. It's not just about writing down what happened, it's about helping you get clear in what you want, confident in how you're showing up, and connected to what's working and what's not. You'll find daily prompts, weekly reflection pages, and the date log. You'll record everything from how you felt before the date, what went well, what felt off, and what you do differently next time. That kind of self-awareness is what sets successful daters apart. This journal will help you slow down, spot patterns, and become more intentional with every interaction.
We only printed a limited batch for this first run, so if this is something you've been needing, go grab it now before they're gone. We'll drop the link in the show notes and let us know what you think. We love hearing your feedback.
We can't wait for you to start using the Self-Made Man Dating Journal.
Submission 2 was written in by Mike, and it says, I've been single for 11 months after an 18-year marriage that I thought was happy. We were high school sweethearts, but one day I found out that she wasn't happy and had an affair. I tried everything to save the marriage and took responsibility for everything she said was wrong. But it only destroyed my self-confidence. Now, 11 months later, I'm in a better emotional state, but still healing from the heartbreak. We have 2 kids, ages 9 and 7. As for my dating life, 2 months after our split, I met a girl and we hit it off, but I made the mistake of rushing into a relationship. I regretted it immediately, but my lack of experience led me to do it. After a few weeks, I unintentionally hurt her by pulling away. I learned from this mistake, but I still struggle with hurting women I have a strong connection with. After a few months, I started to crave something new. I grew up religious and my ex was my only partner. I want to find my person and settle down, but I'm not sure when that will happen or when I'll be ready. I'm afraid to commit fully because I don't want to hurt someone again. I've hurt 5 to 6 girls because I wasn't emotionally ready, even though I want to be eventually. Any advice or tips on communication so I can be clear about my intentions? Ooh, this is a good one.
So, Mike, I really want you to think about the alternative to being someone who doesn't want to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
What's the alternative? It's being someone who does hurt people. You are somebody who cares enough. And I can appreciate the fact that you don't want to hurt people. But through the process we called life, through the process of dating, there are going to be painful experiences, just the way it goes. And there would be reason to question your motives if you didn't care about hurting people, but you do. And that's a good thing. And I just want to shine a light on the fact that you are the kind of man that is considerate of people's feelings, and painful experiences are part of this process. So you can give yourself a little bit of grace. Also, you said my lack of experience led me to the mistake of rushing into relationships that ultimately hurt people. How are you ever going to learn? I get clients that'll say, I just don't know. And my question to them is, how will you know? You're only going to know by actually having the experience. A lot of this is sabotaging narratives that you are believing that are coming from the part of your brain that's just trying to keep you safe. Nothing about what you're telling us sounds like you have ill intent or that you're being malicious.
And I just think that we need to drop this story that you're supposed to be 100% ready before you explore relationships, before you start dating again. I think there's something to be said for healing from past situations. It's okay to take time to heal and get yourself to a point where dating even sounds like something you want to explore. What gets confusing is you say you're ready to start dating, and then your fear-based brain immediately jumps to, oh shit, what if I meet somebody that wants to be in a relationship and I'm not there yet? And it's like, there's 100 other steps that come before that to be focused on. And in that process of getting to the point where you'd even be considering a relationship, you can be honest about where you're at every step of the way. You don't have to hide these feelings. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm in the process of dating and seeing what's out there, but I don't know where I'm at in terms of getting into a long-term relationship. I don't know if I'm ready to be committed to somebody yet. You can be honest about it. I think the reason why some guys shy away from that, obviously emotions are heightened. And when you like spending time with somebody, you don't want that to go away if you tell them exactly where you're at. But at the end of the day, that is how you avoid hurting yourself or somebody else, is just being honest about where you're at. And that doesn't say anything bad about you. That says so much about your character and your emotional maturity. You can date without understanding or knowing when exactly you'll be ready to commit to a long-term relationship.
Yeah. And let me give you the mic drop here, Mike. Oh, that's a lot of mics. Okay, let me give you something to wrap your head around. Mike, you're not supposed to know. Maybe I'm not supposed to know when I'm going to be ready. Your brain is telling you you need to have this clear-cut, defined path laid out in front of you so you know exactly on this date you're going to be ready. That ain't going to happen. No. You're supposed to be navigating this, sifting and sorting and figuring out what works for you and who it is that you're becoming. And through all of these experiences, learning who it is that you're looking for. So let go of that reason to be beating yourself up and just let that sink in for a minute. Give yourself a little bit of relief and let your brain have that aha moment. It's profound, I think. A lot of us believe that we should know what the end game looks like. It's bullshit. We shouldn't.
You have such a valid reason to not have that figured out right now. Your reason is not malicious. You might want to explore your options, and that is totally fine. But it's not like you're trying to lead anybody on. It's not like you're getting in the dating scene with the purposes of seeing how many people you can get with or how many people you can date before you decide you want to settle down. You have a very valid reason to want to take things slow and to not rush into a relationship. I think you explaining where you're at, having real conversations with anybody that you date that you like spending time with and you would want to explore spending more time with them, You can be very honest. This was the situation that I was in. It's left me feeling unsure about where I go from here. And I'm still in the process of figuring that out.
Your marriage ended without your consent. The rules changed without your permission. You had no control. So now your brain is doing the most protective, predictable thing that it can. And what you're calling lack of readiness is really just untreated grief that needs time to heal. Give yourself some space to process and recognize that this is an experience that you're growing from, and you'll know when you're ready to take the next step. I think your sense of self probably hasn't fully been regrounded, which makes us feel unsafe. So I think you just need to give yourself a little bit more time to strike that level of comfort being back in the dating scene. The mindset shift is stop trying to avoid hurting someone and start trying to better understand yourself and give yourself grace. Make it about you, less about trying to avoid hurting someone. Because if that's what your brain is fixated on, that's what you're going to draw towards you. That's what you're going to attract. It sounds like the man that you're becoming isn't afraid of commitment. He's just really learning how to trust himself again. And that is work worth doing. Yes.
Hey there. If you're loving the Just Ask Her podcast, please take a quick second to rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps more awesome listeners like you find the show. And don't forget to spread the love by sharing this episode with all of your friends. All right, back to Just Ask Her.
Our third submission is from Hunter. It says, I've been getting to know a great girl for a few weeks now, and we've been texting a lot. Sometimes things feel like they're moving too fast with a lot of vulnerability. How do you slow things down when they speed up like this? Is it necessarily a bad thing that these things are dynamic? Would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.
So I'd be interested to know what it means to you by getting to know a great girl. Does that mean you're going out on dates? Does that mean you're just texting? I always think it's so interesting. And who knows, maybe you guys don't live near each other or something. And so that's why you have to text instead of going on dates. I feel like you would have said you were going on dates with her if you had. So I'm going to take this from the frame that you're not going on dates yet. You don't need 2 weeks. You don't even need a full week to get to know somebody over text before going on a date with them. I think that is the biggest mistake that gets made in the early phases of meeting somebody new to the time in between meeting somebody new to actually going on the first date with them. Like that needs to be a shorter gap because you're going to be able to connect with this person. You're going to be able to get to know this person. You're going to be able to understand this person. And if you like being around this person, so much better and so much clearer when you go out on a date with them. Texting back and forth for weeks on end, sharing all the things over text messages. Don't get me wrong. It can be fun at times. It can be flirty and exciting to have somebody new to text. But if you're not going on dates, you're missing a huge part of this. You're missing a huge opportunity to connect with the person. And a lot of those conversations, people are more bold over text. So you're asking how you slow things down. Actually getting out on dates would slow this down because people are not that bold when they first meet you in person. You're not having a lot of those conversations that you feel bold enough to have behind a screen. For your question, get out on a date with her and start connecting in real life. That will naturally slow this down.
I also think that's really good advice. I think it's so much easier to be vulnerable via text.
You don't have to sit across the other person and look them in the eye.
You could just slow down the pacing of the texting cadence. Like you don't have to avoid them. You don't have to withdraw. Just have a little bit more healthy pacing. Maybe wait to reply a day or so.
If he started this way, she's going to be like, what happened? How did we go from texting every day, 10 times a day or more to waiting an entire day? Like she'll probably get pissed off or she'll probably leave because she's like, what the hell?
Well, and I also think just being very honest, he doesn't have to say like, we're moving too fast. But he could say, I'm really enjoying getting to know you. I'd love to build this slowly so that it lasts. So he's being very honest about what it is that he wants. And then maybe he slows the pace down a little bit. Also, taking the responsibility. He's not going to be able to change her behaviors, but it takes two to tango in this texting relationship. And he can be asking himself, am I sharing to connect, or am I sharing to create security? This impression that I'm comfortable sharing the deepest, darkest sides of myself. Like that one question will slow your nervous system down more effectively than probably any of the other rules. So it's really checking your intentions before you find yourself sharing.
Yeah.
Oversharing, I guess.
I just think the best thing you could do here is just ask her out on a date. If you're not going on dates, that should be step number one. I think if you pull away from texting at this point, when you've already built a cadence of every day, all day, she's going to be concerned. She's going to be like, what happened? If you want to keep this moving forward, but you want to slow it down, get out on a date. One of my biggest pet peeves was when I would like meet a guy, or I would match with a guy, or I'd start chatting with a guy, and they would take weeks or a month or more to ask me on a date. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
TikTok.
No,
I
what
am
are we
almost
doing?
25 years
Literally, nobody has time for this. Nobody has time for this. This really did become one of my main disqualifiers for guys when I was in the thick of it on the apps. If you were not asking me out in a timely manner, I was out. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth over pointless conversations, like only to get out on a date with you weeks later and then find out we're not a good match. Like, no. Ask her out on the date. Like, you guys have already had 2 weeks. She obviously is comfortable with you. She obviously is sticking around for a reason. She obviously wants to have these conversations. So ask her out. Ask her on a date and have the conversations there.
Yep.
I bet she won't be willing to have as many of these conversations on the date.
Right.
Not right out of the gate, at least. But what are you waiting for?
Yeah. Good advice. All right. Well, that ends the first episode of year two. On the podcast, I need to say season 2 now, huh?
I know. We also need to come up with a name for our listeners.
I know.
We talked about that.
Just so you guys know, Dave's probably the only one still listening. But Dave, I think of all of the men who listen, who actively put in effort to improve upon their life, I think of them as self-made men. That's how I think of them. That's how I think of you guys, because you are taking responsibility to do the things that are going to get you closer to what it is that you want in your life. And that's what I consider to be self-made.
Maybe we'll figure it out in year 2.
You guys have any ideas? Shoot them our way. Thank you again for joining.
We put out new episodes every single Wednesday, so you can catch us right back here next week, wherever you listen to your podcast. In the meantime, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dating with Gracie. And just remember, no matter where you are or what situation you're in, just ask her.